Hello and welcome back. Eddie Radosevich, Bob Przybylo here for the Soonerscoop.com studios on Campus Corner. And welcome back to another Hoops Report. We got a lot to cover here as a big win for Oklahoma on Tuesday night. A much-needed victory on Tuesday night, 82-66, which I don't know if the final score indicated how close that game was and how maybe nervous. There was a lot of people inside the Lloyd Noble Center, maybe a little bit nervous about the final outcome. But before we get to Tuesday, we need to go back and recap just a little bit. I know that there's some good and probably not so much bad, but coming after a loss at home 2 weeks ago to Texas Tech, a game that you had, a game that we have talked about on the Unofficial 40, just in terms of the free throw shooting had become an issue. You needed a bounce back, and then that leads into last week when you're able to go to Manhattan and get a really nice win. On the surface, it's a really nice win. I don't know if it was the most well-played basketball game.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the spot where I thought a road victory was going to happen. I mean, the way that Jerome Tang and they've got it rolling at Kansas State when they're in Manhattan, that was maybe the surprise result of the season to this point. And Kansas State has looked great at home before and since, but for whatever reason, they laid an egg and the Sooners took advantage and got a much-needed, we're going to say that a lot, much-needed as this thing keeps going up and down and up and down.
Absolutely. It's like riding a roller coaster of sort. I don't know if I'm particularly a roller coaster guy, but this is, it's been interesting, no doubt about it. I can't remember a game, and talking about the Kansas State game, Bob, that you had a 13-point lead, you had a 16-point lead at halftime, and at no point did that thing feel like, okay, yeah, they're going to get through this, and especially because of the free throw shooting.
Yeah, they went 24 of 39 on that night. You love the 39 trips. You got to make a heck of a lot more than 24. I know it's something that Porter Moser wasn't concerned about, and history has shown now during the last couple games. You know, it's just a blip on the radar, but it was a big blip for that night. You didn't know it was going to come back to haunt them, but they were able to put it away. Tyler Perry, then they were trying to make their run, got it down to 7, never got any closer. And again, I mean, when you can get any win, as the coaches have loved to say, any win in this conference is great, but a road win means just that much more.
It's wild, and probably just a representation of what this conference is. That was what? That would have been their third loss in a row. Then they went on to Oklahoma State, lost their fourth, and then they bounced back with the overtime win over Kansas. That led into last weekend for Oklahoma, where you had great opportunity. You could get over 500 in Big 12 play. You could really start building momentum, maybe even get a third road victory, which is just insane to think about considering how tough it is to win on the road in this conference. It's something that we have talked about, and there's no other way to put it than they laid an egg in Orlando.
It was a clunker, absolute clunker. It was there to be won, and they just couldn't make anything. Shot 37% from the field. Latrey Darthard had 4 of their 5 threes. No one else could shoot, and it's like, here we go again. We're still riding this wave, up and down, and then your backs are going to be up against the wall. And it's like, has this team run out of steam? Is the first 2 months was an aberration? Was this team never that good to begin with? Like, all those questions. And it's weird. You get that overreaction central with every single game. It's just the way it works.
No doubt about it. And then that led into bigger questions of, Javen McCollum isn't playing well. I thought, for me at least, offensively was terrible in Orlando, but for me, it was the urgency, the lack of sense of urgency, and you wondered how is that going to translate coming back to Norman as we get into Tuesday night's affair with BYU, that you have another great opportunity to get a quad 1 victory. BYU came into the night number 7 in the country. Obviously, when we talked to Porter on Monday, it was, I think, spoken about ad nauseum, just as in terms of BYU, what they are offensively. I think that he said multiple times, basketball savants love this BYU offense under Mark Pope. They've been extremely good. They had just come off of a 13-point win in Morgantown, a road victory. So you didn't really know how the response was going to be, and that leads into the BYU game, obviously, where it was a very, very good win.
It was, and we were just choking throughout that first half. Like, OU's not playing well.
Sure.
And somehow we're tied at halftime. You take 17 threes, you're out rebounded by 6. You're doing all these things wrong, but you only have 3 turnovers, and BYU's missing a lot of shots that they probably thought they would make on a consistent basis, and now we're tied at halftime. Go take it. It's there for you. Get this quad 1 win against a team that might stay in the top 10 with the net the entire season, because it seems like it hasn't really mattered what the Cougars have done bad. they're not really dropping. They go from 7 to 8 based off of what happened Tuesday. And so those wins like that, those are going to carry. That is going to mean a lot when we get to seeding when it comes time for March.
Right before halftime, BYU builds a 5-point lead. I think there was just under, I can't remember if they were coming out of the under 4 timeout or just about to go into the under 4 timeout. And I leaned over to one of the guys I was sitting with on the baseline. And it was like, this is about make or break time. And I know that I tweeted and it was a little bit dramatic, but for them to get to 34-34, get it tied going into halftime, it felt like it was a win. It felt like you were up in the game, and a lot of that had to do, obviously, you got some shots to fall. Los Uzon, John Hughley with some big minutes there at the end of the first half. But I really thought that they were getting it done on the defensive end as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think BYU seemed a little, like, I don't know, scared or shocked, like surprised at how OU was going to attack them on defense. They did a great job of taking away their own three-point weapon. They averaged 12 makes per contest from beyond the arc, and OU just wasn't going to let it happen. It reached the point where Cougars just started forcing them. They had no others like, we got to try to get back in it. We're trying to be who we are. This is what we do. But, man, they are really taking us out of that game. And when we go back to tying it up, that was a lesson learned. Porter loved to mention against Texas Tech going way too early on the final possession of the first half, missing a shot, Tech getting 2 free throws to make it by 1. Here, low scores with basically 1.5 seconds left as the ball's going through the hoop, and by the time it's inbounded, it expires. We're tied. There you go. Lesson learned.
BYU held to 30% shooting on the night, and really I think that for them, you can get away with that, or Oklahoma can live with that, rather, as we should say. But it was a good defensive performance. We'll get to the offensive stuff here in a second, but for Oklahoma and Porter Moser, you're going to talk about defense quite a bit. Here is Porter along with Javion McCollum and Los Uzon after the game.
Yeah, I mean, they just to be able to, be able to handle that, and just did so many good things. Him and Javion, obviously Javion made the free throws down the stretch, but they both made really nice mid-range shots on that drop coverage. Made a big three. Each made big threes. So I thought both those two. It was very similar to Providence when they ran that drop coverage, and I thought those two guys did a great job.
We knew coming into this game this is a big game. It's a quad one game. So I feel like just all week focusing on the game plan, basically having our backs against the wall. We needed this. So, I think playing more aggressive as well, knowing what type of coverage they were in, it was key for the win.
Yeah, I believe it was one of our better defensive games. The coaches came up with a great game plan for us. We know that they like to get out in transition and run and get up threes a lot. So I think we're number one in the conference in guarding the three-point line. So I think we did a good job tonight of taking that away from them and making them settle for twos.
Well, I think our guys were they had such a respect for them as shooters. I think they were trying to be underneath them. We got lost a couple times in transition, one in the start of the second half, one in the corner right in front of their bench. But they're so hard to guard. They run excellent stuff. They space you. They got an elite point guard. They got a power center that can score. But I thought our guys communicated on their switches really well. I thought they did a great job, and we've talked about it in the second half sometimes, especially in this building. Away from our bench, we hadn't been on top of our communication. I thought we communicated elite on switches with their shooters. I thought we were there underneath them, and I thought our guys really did a nice job switching and being ready to guard their shooters.
You can talk about Oklahoma defensively, but I think that the number one thing that you come out of that Tuesday night, the 36 points between Javion McCollum and Los Uzon. A lot of that from the 20 from Javion McCollum, who still just goes 2 for 8 from behind the arc. Mm-hmm. There's still a little bit of a struggle there in terms of making shots, but you can live with, and I think that this might have been the biggest number for them, just the 3 turnovers on Tuesday.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before with that second made 3 by Javion. It was right toward the end of the game. Really didn't affect the outcome, but you could almost sense it's time.
It was like he was looking up and thank you, finally. I got one to drop.
It is time. I am back to who I need to be. And I give him a lot of credit. I know he did. He made his living at the free throw line in the final 4 or 5 minutes. But he did a great job of getting separation as the Cougars were trying to press and get turnovers. He was strong with the ball. He took the contact. He made the free throws, never allowing BYU a chance to try to make a comeback in the final couple minutes. You can just see, with every free throw, that confidence just kept going up and up. And the way that Los controlled that game from beginning to end, it's funny. He said backs against the wall. He said backs against the wall going in Manhattan. Like, we're used to him saying that. And
Sure.
Because, again, that's just kind of the way that this has been, is that you almost feel like if you have those winnable games that you don't take advantage of, which was Central Florida, then once again, your backs are up against the wall.
As far as Los Uzon, it seems like he was a little bit maybe more aggressive on Tuesday night. It was something that I think when Oklahoma has played well offensively, he's kind of been the guy as far as navigating the offense. How much more of that do you think can be seen, I guess? Is it a point of emphasis? I'm interested to see maybe even Porter going into the Bedlam game. It seemed like that was something that they had said, we need you to be more of a distributor, more of a guy that can run this offense through.
And I'll be curious to see what happens when it's against a team that doesn't do the drop coverage. Because
Yeah,
it
sure.
is true. Providence and BYU, that's been Los's bread and butter. It's like, all right, this is what you're going to do. I'm going to hit that little floater. There's nothing you can do about it. But, yeah, he's got to be more aggressive. There are several games you can just sort of watch go 5-10 minutes at a time where he's just passing the ball, which is nice. But he's got to be more than that because he is the team leader. He is the team captain. And even though he's kind of soft-spoken, he's got the respect of his peers, of the locker room. And so when he plays his best, I think it becomes infectious.
Sure.
The other guys start playing at a very high level. I think the backcourt is the same way. Like when Javion's going, everyone else feels a whole lot better about where this is going for the Sooners. And we'll see if for finally in conference season, can they build off of it with another solid outing?
No doubt. And it almost seems like, too, that, when you were able to get Javion McCollum going, or when you're able to get Los Uzon going and they show up offensively, maybe it's more so too that you just don't have the pressure if you're a Jalen Moore, if you're a Rivaldo Suarez, a Latrey Darthard, or John Kuechly. You're not required to be the guy offensively.
Yeah, you can just go in spurts, just like they're asking you to do. And then Jalen Moore is a great example. 0 points, two fouls at halftime, 11 points in the second half. Suarez has been tremendous in the last 2-3 weeks of doing all the little dirty work with offensive rebound, getting to the hole, initiating contact, and the free throw line. So he's been what you need him to be. John Hughley, we mentioned his spurt in the first half. You don't need them to dominate games. But when they pitch in like that and then your stars rise to the occasion, you're going to get the wins.
They got the win on Tuesday. It was because of the Oklahoma backcourt with McCollum and Uzon. Here they are, as well as Porter Moser after the game.
Absolutely. Just learned something about both of them. Just kept on telling them both to shoot, and it's going to fall. I love it. We took 26 threes. We took as many threes as they did, and we talked about it. And we talked about playing at a faster pace, and we had a great Los to Javion in a long, we call it a Celtic pass for a layup in a key moment last, I think, 6 or so minutes. But Los missed a couple. I loved it. One of my favorite plays. We just kept him. Don't hesitate, shoot it. We said it the first half, and he literally came down and hit the next one. That was his first one he hit. So hopefully we can start. We started off cold again, but to hit 9, we knew we needed to hit some tonight, and we did.
I mean, yeah, you always want to see one go in, but I believe, like, they were in that drop coverage, so it was easy to get downhill. I mean, that was the game plan, like Lo said. We followed the game plan and got to our floaters and sprayed the ball to our teammates, and it worked out.
We did. I think we're all trying to stack wins. You're trying to go on one-game win streaks in this league. And, you know that it's opportunity. We lost a tough one. We had a good road win at Kansas State. We turn around and don't play well at Central Florida, and you turn right around and you got an opportunity to play the number 7 team in the net. That's opportunity. So that's, as daunting as this league is, there is opportunity. I mean, the opportunities are hard, but there is opportunity. And I think our guys knew that. They absolutely knew it. They knew it was a big win. They knew they had a great opportunity tonight here at home.
It was really funny because, and we talked about it after the game, you go and we do some of the pre-game, post-practice stuff leading into that BYU game. And, outside of Porter Moser talking about BYU offensively, it was basically an idea of we don't want to get into a three-point shooting contest with them. And then all of a sudden you look up in the first half, Oklahoma was 5 for 17 in the first half. Too many threes, or were you okay with the shot selection? Because I would say out of the 17, without going back and just specifically charting everything, they had a lot of open looks.
That open looks, and I guess you give credit to Moser for just keep him with that confidence of put it up. You mentioned that with Los, Javion in particular, but that's kind of been his mantra with the entire team. Even when Hughley, there's times where he'll switch to 3 or he'll hit the side of the backboard with 1. It's just like keep putting it up. You can't shy away if that's what's being given to you. And then you go 4 of 9 in the second half. That's going to win a lot of games. The being more selective, obviously making 4, you're shooting 44%. That's going to get the job done time and time again. And just the way that offense looked in the second half, can that carry here during the next couple games?
It seemed like it was it might have been for me the Rivaldo Suarez 3 from the corner in the second half that almost like you could feel like just over from the bench because it was in front of the Oklahoma bench. You could feel like everybody maybe just taking a little bit of a deep exhale. That's how bad these last couple weeks have been for Oklahoma offensively, and particularly getting the ball in the hole.
Yeah, it was a nice play, nice wide open look, but that hasn't mattered.
Yeah.
Wide open look has not usually mattered during this, up and down stretch that we've been going through. But Suarez drained it. He also had the one where he could have taken a 3 in the corner, so that he drove it to the hole and dunked it. So you see what he brings to the game. And I think that's what sometimes I fall back on. Okay, you've got an open look, but if you can do more than just settle for the 3, then go ahead and do that because they've got players like Owe who can do just that.
Sure.
You don't have to settle. Just drive in and see if you can get fouled, if you can get a basket. So, but that second half, you can feel the confidence building with every passing minute and just how great it was to take advantage of that opportunity and to get that home win after going 0-2 at home a couple weeks before.
Much needed, obviously, much needed. And, we talked about it on the Unofficial 40. Rivaldo Suarez is starting to stack games, and you look at what he was able to produce on Tuesday night against BYU. He had the 12 points. He had the 6 rebounds, a block, which led into a transition basket for Oklahoma, as well as a steal. It seems like he's starting to become a little bit maybe even more comfortable than he previously was.
Yeah, I mean, you give credit to him because it's clear he came to OU to be one of the starting 5.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that's what he wanted to do.
There's that ball.
And then, Porter Moser puts him off the bench, and both of them have admitted that was an adjustment. Waldo said it was. Porter said it was tough. Waldo to get into that role, but it's not about the starting 5, and that's another one of the things that Porter will say. Not about the starting 5, it's about the final 5. And when it comes down to the crunch time, comes down to the final 5 minutes, more times than not, Suarez is one of those 5 that's out there because he's earned it, and he's just so calm, and he's ready for the moment, and you would hope he would be with 5 years of playing college basketball, but he just looks so comfortable in knowing what he can and can't do and being able to, bring out his best time and time again.
Oklahoma improves to 17-6, 5-5 in conference play. Don't look at the Big 12 standings for too long because if you blink, they're probably going to change night in and night out. You have a bunch of teams stacked in the middle, and obviously Tuesday night was an extremely important victory. You simply couldn't lose your 3rd straight home game. This rolls into what is now, Bedlam edition number 1. And I think that going back to the Texas game a couple weeks ago, Porter Moser was reminded about his record against Oklahoma State as well as Texas, which is 1-9 going into Saturday night. And this kind of feels like this is one of those games that not only because Oklahoma State isn't a very good basketball team, this is an opportunity to really start building momentum, as you said.
Yeah, it's time to dominate. It's time to reverse the course of what Bedlam has been since Porter Moser's been here in Norman, and it takes you back to last year, which to me was the most disappointing effort of the entire season.
100%
was Bedlam at home, coming off the win against number 2 Bama, standing room only crowd because they let people in for free, incredible environment, and OU laid the ultimate egg. So they cannot do that this time. What's going to be interesting though is OSU will be dangerous because they've got nothing to lose.
Oh, no.
We know that. Not even Bryce Thompson is out, so even more people don't give them a chance. So I'm not they're just going to put everything they can into this effort. If the Sooners can have a knockout blow early, I think OSU will fold. But good starts in OU Big 12 play, that's not something we've heard all too often.
It kind of goes back to everything that you talk about, even rivalry games, but just in general of games that you're favored, you're supposed to win. Don't give the other team any hope. You got to be able to bury them. Houston did that on Tuesday night. Oklahoma State has been, I don't know any other way to say it than terrible specifically on the road in Big 12 play, the 5 losses. You have 5 losses on Big 12 on the road by 16 points or more. 4 of those have come by 20 points or more, and the largest margin of deficit for Oklahoma State was the 29-point loss in Lawrence. So sometimes it comes down to just making shots. Here is Porter Moser as well as Lo Suzon kind of talking about what is to come.
It's good to talk about that because those guys stepped up and made their foul shots and stepped up and made some big shots. And, I said it earlier. I said, the old Brad Stevens quote, you can analyze a lot of stuff, but it's a shot-making game too. And so especially when there's more made of shot-making and free throws, sometimes that becomes big. So it's credit our guys for just getting in the gym, repping it out, believing in themselves, and staying with it because I said all along they can shoot, and it was great to see it go in tonight.
I mean, we knew we had to come together. The goal, we're trying to get to the tournament. None of us has been there, and we're trying to get there. So Moser knows what it's like, and he's just trying to help us be good, better leaders, and he's leading the way for us. So we're following. Yeah, we're super excited. Last year we got swept by them, so I'm gonna tell the team how important this game is to us, and how big it is to the state of Oklahoma. So this is a big game for us for sure.
Not only did they get swept, Bob, they lost 3 times to Oklahoma State last year, which I believe was an oddity within the Bedlam series. Hasn't happened a whole lot. Of course, you obviously don't play a whole lot of teams 3 times in a year, the 2 in Norman and Stillwater, and then obviously at the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. So in terms of resume, where are you? I know that a lot of the projections, a lot of the bracketology stuff right now, you're hovering around the 6 line. Yeah. You have the 2 quad 1 wins. And when you look at the schedule coming up, Oklahoma sits at number 27 in net rating as of this morning. We were talking before we started, thought that they might get a little bit more bump or help in terms of a Providence win on on Wednesday night over Creighton. Overtime game is one of the better games on Wednesday night. But you have opportunity. Where do you think things sit right now? I kind of feel like if you can get to 9 wins, you feel pretty damn good about your resume going into Selection Sunday.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you're probably looking at the 6 line going into this weekend, and you wish you had a little bit more quad 1 wins. They had 3, but they're 7 and 6 in quad 1 and 2 games. That's not bad either. Because that was
been the opposite the last couple years.
Yeah,
right?
That was always like the thing last year. Like, well, they have 4 quad 1 wins. They have 10 quad 1 losses. Yeah. Like they're not doing enough with all these chances. So at least this year it's about 50-50. They don't have a bad loss. That's something that's also kind of resonating too. There isn't, even though we don't like the way they played against Texas.
Sure,
it's not an actual bad loss when you look at the resume. So if they can keep that up throughout the entire season. And yeah, I mean, 9, there's no doubt you're sitting pretty if you're at 9. Even 8 and 10, I don't think there's a question about it. You just want to be able, if you can get 1 between Kansas and Houston, you're feeling really good about, being around that 6 or 7 seed, which again, if we said that in October, not many people would believe it, and every single person would take it.
Oh, everybody, I think, would be saying, especially after what they've done the first 2 years under Porter, it'd be a hell of a season. And this is what you have coming up now, getting through Bedlam coming up on Saturday. That game in Norman, 6 o'clock tip-off at the Lloyd Noble Center. Next week, nothing easy in this conference, especially for Oklahoma. Next week, you head to Baylor on February 13th. You got Kansas coming into town next Saturday, a week from Saturday, and then you're back out on the road, headed up to Stillwater for a midweek game, as well as Iowa State on February 28th. And then all of a sudden, you only got 3 games left. 2 of the 3 coming in Norman with Houston, Cincinnati, and then you finish out the season at the Moody Center against Texas on March 9th.
Where every team wins.
They're now 1-4, which is one of the most unbelievable statistics to me, at least. Maybe the most surprising thing outside of Iowa State and what they've been able to do. And coincidentally enough, it was Iowa State that gave them their 4th loss on Tuesday night, racing out to a 17-point lead.
Tremendous environment there, but clearly is not mattering. What is so crucial here, you got 3 games, and then you finally get that bye. I think they got to be the last team to get that bye. Like,
sure.
Everyone else getting that midweek break, and the Sooners aren't. But after Kansas, they'll get it. And so that means after Tuesday at Baylor, they won't have to go anywhere until after they go to Stillwater. Like, they can stay in the state for 2 weeks, get rested up, and we'll see how different they look heading down the stretch.
It's helped for a lot of teams to be able to just get it flat out a break as you continue the grind. There was awful news out of Norman earlier this week. On Tuesday morning, it comes out that Toby Keith had passed away after battling cancer for, I believe, about a year and a half, maybe more. But, obviously a fixture at Oklahoma athletic events. Skip Johnson opened his media day press conference talking about him, as did Porter Moser on Tuesday night, talking about the memory of Toby Keith.
I want to just say today's a tough day for Sooner Nation. We lost a dear friend in Toby Keith, and I heard his songs blaring in the arena, and I've been here 3 years, and became a true friend of mine, and him and his family, and he is everything you want to be about. He's Sooner Nation, and to all his friends around the country in the music industry, in the sports world, friends in all different things. Today we raise a glass to Toby Keith. And I wish there was something different than water in this glass right now, because he is a true legend, a true friend to everybody. And I just want to say our guys played their hearts out for Toby Keith tonight to get this win. And I know he was looking down on us tonight. So to everyone who hears this around Sooner Nation, friends all across the country, raise your glass tonight to Toby Keith.
Thought that was a really thoughtful kind of memory of Toby Keith. And, it's going to be weird, as he was a fixture at Oklahoma basketball games. I told Andy Staples on his show earlier this week that it wasn't about just the big games for Toby. He would be there on your Tuesday night against directional Louisiana State. He would be there, just basically a fixture right alongside Joe Castiglione.
When I knew it was real, it was after Buddy was gone, but pre-Trey. It was that in between season.
Sure.
And Toby's there every night.
Yeah.
They're a 10-win team that entire year. He did not care. He always showed up, was always there, support the team. I mean, that's when I knew, he's not just with OU when they're riding high.
100%. A true Sooner fan, and, thoughts and prayers out to his family as they go through the grieving process. And, 62 years young, just way too young to.
Saturday night's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, Saturday night's gonna be awesome. I believe Toby Rowland had said it on the Oklahoma broadcast on Tuesday night. All beverages will be served in red Solo cups for the Bedlam game coming up on Saturday night. Once again, 6:00 at the Lloyd Noble Center. So this is not a K-State hoops report.
TCU.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice. Maybe. They did everybody else a solid beating up on Kansas on Monday night, except if you had the Kansas money line, which I don't know. I'm just going to venture to guess one of us did and lost. So it's going to be interesting. Oklahoma right in the middle of the Big 12 race. It's going to be a fun month of February here as we embark on this, and then obviously getting into March, which Oklahoma expected to make a return to the big dance. So for Bob Przybylo, I'm Eddie Radosevich. We will see you next week. Week 3, 2, 1. Week. Right here on the Soonerscoop.com Hoops Report.